Where, oh where, will the next Gigafactory go? I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. So you may be watching this Friday on the live stream, and just for the record, next week we're going to hopefully, going to be doing the live streams on the second channel, link in the description. Could use some subscribers over there, some watch time, get that monetized. But if you're watching this on the replay, well, you know, great, it's condensed, and you can go back and watch the longer version if you so desire. So let's just jump into it. So after I did the first dozen, I got a bunch of suggestions for other places that I should absolutely cover. So I'm covering them. And I was also asked to, pretty please and thank you, with sugar on top, give some actual numbers. So I've done that as well. The ones in gray here are ones that we covered last time, but we'll cover them again. So let's go alphabetically, because it's the only fair way to do it. Argentina, pretty small GDP, only comes in at 9% among the countries I'm checking. Their GDP growth, not exciting. Corruption index, not too bad. Political stability, it's fine, middle of the pack. What they do have reasonably well is some domestic resources. Now, I only counted 4 for the sake of this. I counted steel, aluminum, lithium, and copper, which are kind of the big 4. Their import taxes are quite high, so having a domestic production there would be good. But, they would probably have a reasonably strong political will to get it done, but not much to offer in terms of incentives. Their domestic auto sales, 250,000, and they already make 300,000 cars a year, giving them a rank of 22 on the list. That's mostly harmed by the low GDP and low expected growth in GDP over the next 10 years. Australia and Brazil both got a good score on minerals because they have all 4 of those things being produced. So they came out a bit higher. Australia ranked 6th on the list, which surprises me how high it is. But they do have a big auto market, a high import tax on foreign autos, and no domestic production at the moment. And they still have some lingering engineering talent from the days when they did make cars. So that could be helpful. And they could make the batteries right there. That would be helpful. So the biggest request I got was for Canada. Canada's great. For production, Canada would be great. We would have, they've got a very large GDP. The growth is expected to continue, though not at a ridiculous pace. The corruption index, they're looking very good. Political stability, very good. Median income is high. Engineering talent is high. Domestic resources, they have 3 of the 4 that we mentioned in great numbers. And I'm not saying these countries don't have the 4th, don't have other things. I'm only looking at things for which countries are listed as the world's top producers of. Canada's import taxes, not too bad. Likely political incentives, I put them at the bottom of the barrel because they don't need Tesla in the way some countries do. And Western countries tend to have high levels of bureaucracy that get in the way of the political will. Domestic auto sales are genuinely huge. 300,000 a year. That's great. And their domestic auto production is 2 million because they make a lot of cars that are shipped to the US. Their grid stability is excellent, among the best, giving Canada a rank of 2. Out of the 24 countries checked, Canada comes in at number 2. That's pretty exciting. Czech Republic, that was requested. Their GDP is very much on the low end, but they're an EU country. Their projected growth is above average. Their corruption index is not bad. Political stability, below average. Median income, very low. They've got some talent, but not anything outrageous. Domestic resources, they don't have any of the 4 things needed. That gives them a lower score. They're in the EU, so the import taxes are fine. Their political will, I'm sure, would be fantastic to get a factory like this. Their domestic sales are low, but they do already make 1.4 million cars a year, which makes them, in my opinion, a pretty good candidate, giving them a score of 9. How'd France do? Big. And by the way, all of this is going to be on Patreon as a Patreon exclusive without the numbers blacked out. But this gives you an idea of where we're at. France, they've got good talent. They've got a lot of stuff. Not super rich on the domestic resources. One of the 4 is in strong supply. Their rank 8. Not too bad. Not too bad. Which ones are exciting? Yes, you don't see anything but the rank numbers. These are Patreon exclusives. And maybe I'll make this available later, but I put a lot of hours into this. This was a lot of research. India, I'm a big fan of India. It scored a lot lower than I thought. 4. Still 4, because the market is so big and it is expanding so quickly. The political stability is not great. The median income is real bad. But it's growing, and it's expected to grow a lot faster. And their engineering talent is exceptional. Not the 100% level I'd put Canada or France at, but 90%. They're just about there. That's what I put, right? 85%. So, not bad. Now, Indonesia, bigger market than I expected. Let's do Italy at the same time, might as well. 2 big markets. How'd they rank? Well. Indonesia coming in at 13 is a very strong contender, I think, because the market is big. It is growing. They do have resources. It'd be a good market to get into. Italy at 3 strikes me as too high, but the numbers don't lie. They're just potentially quite flawed. Japan. You ever heard of it? Look at that GDP. 5 trillion, giving them the highest number of any country that is not on this list. They're not looking at bad growth, decent growth. The corruption index is quite strong. The political stability is very strong. Median income is very good. Engineering talent is second to none when it comes to autos. Their domestic resources are quite limited. They only have pig iron. And yeah, their import tariffs are quite, on autos are non-existent, and on goods they average 2.5%, which is quite reasonable. Gives them a good shot. Their likelihood of political incentives would be almost non-existent because they don't need it. But they sell 3.8 million a year and make 9.6 million a year. When it comes to auto production, Japan got it dialed in. Their grid stability is very high. Boom. You know what? Why don't I turn on grid stability so you can see that? There we go. Who's next? Malaysia. Similar situation to Indonesia. Good, lots of stuff. Similar rank. Mexico, we covered last time. 18. A lot farther down than I expected. Netherlands, surprisingly small country. 16. It's a good rank. Pakistan, I'm not sure why that was mentioned as a possibility, but it was, and I figured I would absolutely cover it. Very small GDP. Not a lot of, a decent expected growth. Not a lot of hope on the corruption index or the political stability index. They are at dead last on political stability. Median income is shockingly low. Engineering talent, I'm sure it's fine, but not necessarily for auto resources. They don't have much in terms of minerals. Their import taxes are very high, which helps them because, having a domestic plant circumvents that. They would probably be encouraged to make a large investment, a very gracious and favorable investment. Domestic auto sales, 154,000. That's not good. And domestic auto production, 187,000. Not great. So I'm not sure why everyone wanted to see this. Why a couple people wanted to see it. Dead last. Dead last. Philippines, similar situation to Indonesia and Malaysia, but a lower ranking. Because, because of all the factors. And, and Tesla doesn't do cheap. But for an export hub, it could be helpful. Now, these were all covered last week. I'll just turn them on. Boop, like that. So Poland came in very well, but it's right next to Germany. I don't know if they'd want a second plant that close geographically. Romania, not too bad, but Russia, right in the middle of the pack. South Africa, much closer to the bottom than I would have expected. South Korea, number 10, kind of surprised me. I thought that would come out a little higher based on their engineering talent, but they don't have much in terms of domestic resources, only one of the 4 items listed. Spain, also in the EU, they've got 851,000 cars sold a year and 2.8 million built. So that gives them a leg up. Spain, popping in there at rank 17. Ugh. Thailand, similar situation to much of Southeast Asia, but with a smaller economy and less political stability. Now, a lot of the political stability indexes, I think, are not necessarily relevant. Netherlands did not score particularly well on that because their parliament has been dissolved a number of times. But that's not... It doesn't change day-to-day operations. Turkey. I was asked to put Turkey on the list, and I did. Ranked second to last. So, the UK, for those of you doing process of elimination, can figure out, ranked 5. Not bad. And it's because their GDP is huge. Let's just turn on all of the ones for this guy. Oh, they're going to not fit because I smooshed them. Yeah, they still don't fit well. But at any rate, growing, a bottom of the barrel growth, but other corruption index, very strong. Political stability, middle of the pack. You know, they know what they did. Engineering talent, quite good. I know that their cars are not always have the best reputation, but they've done well. And they could absolutely build a car. So, with that said, I think we can get on to the Q&A. We can drop into that section, the entire section, the whole Q&A. Let's go into the Q&A hole. Quick thanks to my Patreons. And that is where the live stream ends. If you want to see the non-condensed version, you can follow the link in the description to see that. There's about another 5, 10, maybe 20 minutes of added Q&A. And always remember, the live streams go out every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Would be great if you could join us for that. And those happen on the second channel. Link also in the description. So guys, quick thank you to my Patreons who get early access, bonus content, an ad-free experience, and access to various trackers, you know, as they become available. So what did I miss or misunderstand? Stay tuned, stay juicy, and I simply cannot wait to hear from you clever robots in the future.